Luzerne County, let's cut the crap. The market's not crashing, but it's definitely not what it was about a year ago. If you're buying or selling this fall, what's happening could save you or cost you thousands. Let's break it down. No BS, just facts. Data never lies. Real estate agents do. Here's the key numbers. As we can see, $230,000 is the median sales price. Using the median isn't really a great indicator because there's so many different price points. There's the McMansions, there's the starter homes, there's everything in between. Don't get super hung up on that. However, notice that it is still year over year higher than it is. Home prices keep going up somehow. Whether that continues, we'll find out. Home sold 389. That's a little bit higher month over month. Median days on market, 24 days. That really, with so few homes listed, which is where we're currently at right now, that fluctuates pretty dramatically because of a couple homes come on priced right and they sell quickly. That brings the whole median down. Also, don't take too much in that. I'm sure we're going to see that number change, especially with the ridiculous amount of price reductions that we've been seeing, which we'll get into. And then the active listings. Listings keep going up. Simple supply and demand, people. More selection, more buyers entering the market, more competition, more negotiation power. We'll get there. Let's see if there's anything else. Interest rates are slowly coming down, which there is, as you can see right here, increase in loan applications, about a 23% increase in loan applications. Same thing we've talking about. Buyers are entering the market because mortgage rates are starting to come down. However, the supply of homes keeps rising and rising. And then so you have this supply and demand equilibrium trying to work itself out. And what is causing is a lot of homes prices come down. If I can identify 3 homes that will work for me and my family, well, then I don't have to sell the farm. Before, 3 years ago, there was only one and there was 18 people bidding on it. Now there's a bunch of different homes that meet our qualifications. We could ask for more things. We could have more competitive offers. We could negotiate for better terms. Because of that, we're going to continue to see these numbers change. However, inventory is going up and therefore prices will come down. And that's just simple supply and demand. Let's see what else we got going on. It's still a seller's market from the data standpoint. However, shit's going crazy. Whether it continues or not will determine just how bad or good things will get. And what I mean by that is the inventory is definitely rising. We've already seen that. Price reductions we'll cover in a little bit are happening all the time. There's a couple stats both in Luzerne County, here in Luzerne County, and nationally. It's about 1 out of every 4 homes that are listed on market, both in Luzerne County and nationally, have had price reductions. We haven't seen that in a long time. That means you have to price it right. These ridiculous numbers that we used to throw out right after COVID, and people would show up waiving everything and going 50K over and appraisal contingencies, that stuff's going away. People are negotiating, and you need to have a great agent that's ready to go to war and negotiate great terms, because that ability is slowly coming back, and it might even speed up. We'll be on the lookout for that. So basically, so what I was saying is the name your price and oh, my neighbor 3 years ago got this, I want this. Let's list it at that and see what happens. You can do that, but what's going to happen is it's going to sit on the market. You're going to do price reductions. You're going to chase the market down. This isn't an opinion. This is just facts. You can't just throw out a ridiculous price. The data doesn't lie. And if you're using data from a year ago, 2 years ago, that's not going to matter. Even though it might be on your street and your neighbor sold 2 years ago, that doesn't mean that's what the homes on your street are worth. You have to totally be focused and have your agent give you real data. Even 6 months ago might be too long for data, the way things are headed right now. Buyers, this is great for you. You used to have no leverage the last couple of years. You do. You want to find an agent that's willing to go to bat and create fair but competitive terms for you when you're submitting offers on these homes. You don't have to sell the farm you used to in order and offer the sun, the moon, and the stars. It's what I call a smart money market. The people that are willing, whether it's both buying or selling, that are being smart, are going to position themselves well going into 2026. Those that just want to pretend that they know what they're talking about and do whatever they want, well, they're either going to overpay for houses, they're not going to have the most favorable terms they could have potentially gotten, or they're going to list their house too high and it's going to be on the market for 150 days. Use data, not your opinion or feelings. Real estate doesn't care about your feelings, it cares about facts, which is data. Let's move on. This is just a graph form of summing some of the things. The sale to list ratio, again, this is data from last month. We're going to see this change as we move forward, and this is going to start coming down. I believe it's probably closer to about 94, 95% in Luzerne County right now, but this was for last month, which was still catching the end of summer, people trying to move and get situated deals, and so I believe this number will come down in the coming months as well. So let's move on. This is just another graph, as you can see here, from July and August, but now we see this downward trend. Now, is this going to fall off? Is this going to, sorry, I was moving myself to see the graph better. Is this going to fall off like a cliff? I don't think so. It might become a little bit more aggressive and more steep as it comes down a little bit. However, until this equilibrium shakes out, the inventory going up and more buyers entering the market, it could go a bunch of different ways. You have to be realistic, and your house is ultimately only worth whatever a buyer is willing to pay for it. So keep that in mind. Some tips to sell right, even if you're priced right. Again, you have to go back to, you can't just throw it on and then a bunch of offers come in. You have to stage it, take great photos. You have to get it marketing. Putting it on the MLS and letting it go to Zillow and Realtor and all that, that's not marketing. That's a joke. You have to identify the potential buyers for your property and then market specifically to them. So if your agent's not doing that, I don't know what the hell you're doing. You might as well just list it for sale by owner at that point, because just throwing it on the MLS, that just doesn't work anymore. Buyers from out of the area, we've had that huge influx here in Luzerne County from New York, New Jersey coming in. That's still happening, maybe not at the level it was a year, 2 years ago. However, they are still coming in and they are still buying, as well as there's still investors out there. The investors are still buying more than ever too. So you have to keep that in mind. We're not trying to say the sky's falling. That's not what's happening here. What to do now if you're selling your house? This talks about what we were doing here, where we're at, and with the quarters and what we may see ahead. Let's see here. Here we go. What to do now? For sellers, you have to remove the emotions. I know it's your house. You've lived in it for maybe a long time. You've raised your family in it. You've done a lot of improvements to it. I understand all that. However, this is a market. This is just a stock market. You might love your iPhone, but Apple stock could go down even though your iPhone is your favorite thing. The real estate market, your emotional ties to the product doesn't matter. It matters what a buyer is willing to pay for it. There's been so much emotional reasoning from sellers pricing their houses and agents caving to allow them to do that, which has caused this nonsensical problem we're in right now, where people are listing their house 150 grand over what it should be. It doesn't work that. It's not magic. Maybe at one point it did, coming out of the global pandemic, but that's not now. That's a pipe dream. And me as a real estate agent, I don't get paid for pipe dreams. I don't get paid to list your house. I get paid to sell your house. And that's something to keep in mind. A lot of people don't like to hear that, but that's ultimately the game here. I make money by helping you sell your house. If I'm afraid to tell you the facts because you have unrealistic views, am I really best representing you? I personally don't think that's true. Also, the first 10 days on the market are crucial. There's multiple different ways to do this, but a long story short is, if you're listing on the market and in 10 days you're not having a bunch of showings, and out of the bunch of showings you're not having a couple offers, you're probably gonna be stagnant and have to end up doing a price reduction. If a house is listed correctly and marketed properly and priced realistically, buyers will come see it in the first 2 weeks. If that's not happening, most likely one of those things I've just listed is your problem. A lot of these we've already touched on. Let's talk about buyers, because buyers have been getting the short end of the stick for the last couple of years. We've already talked about it. There's room to negotiate it. That doesn't mean you can get greedy and lowball offers, because that's not going to get you anywhere too. However, there's room to be fair, where a couple years ago, unfortunately, as a buyer, it couldn't be fair. You had to overpay for homes. Facts. A lot of people had to do it. It is what it is. Hopefully, you got yourself in a good situation. But now you can be fair. You can have contingencies. You can negotiate a home inspection. These things the market is now allowing just because of where we're at. Whether that continues or whether the equilibrium's reached and we even off, we'll see. But as of right now, there are lots of buyers out there negotiating very fair deals, and sellers getting very fair and realistic prices, whether they realize it or not. If you're waiting for interest rates to drop to 4%, 3%, I'm not even going to go lower than that, you're just out of your mind. It's not going to happen. And if it is, that would cause so many other ripple effects in the economy that goes beyond what this video is supposed to do. Normal story is rates are coming down. You can always refinance years later. I don't the coined little date the rate, marry the house, but home prices continue to go up. We haven't seen the home prices come down yet. However, if you buy now, in 2 years, you could always refinance. But if you waited 2 years to buy for interest rate to be lower, the home could be worth 8, 10, 12% more. And are you really saving that? Focus on the house and buying the house. You can always change terms, do a loan modification, something later. A couple final thoughts before we end here. The Luzerne County market, the best term I can come up with right now is rebalancing. It's not crashing. Change is probably too passive of a word. I don't think it's changing. It's more than changing, but it's definitely not a crash by any stretch of imagination. There's almost no evidence of that. It's rebalancing. Things have been way out of whack for a couple of years, and now we're trying to figure out where everyone's at. We know buyers have been getting squeezed. Well, sellers have been making out pretty damn well in the last couple of years. Well, now we are probably coming back to more an equilibrium. Markets will always seek that middle ground, that equilibrium. Sellers, you need to be smart. You can't be greedy. You have to be realistic. And you have to find an agent that's going to tell you the truth, not just be a yes man. Yes, I think your house that has a hole out on the roof that when it rains outside, it rains inside is worth $8 million. Let's list it at that. Please sign my contract. It's nonsense. It's hurting agents. It's hurting sellers. It's hurting the market. You have to be realistic, and you have to back all of your decisions with data. Too easy, right? Believe it or not, this is what a normal, healthy market looks like. We're just coming out of, it's been super biased towards sellers and the buyers have been getting shafted. Us coming back to the middle is actually more normal and more healthy. Although it might feel odd to us right now because of we're coming out of the last couple of years, but so is getting on the treadmill for the first 30 minutes if you haven't done it in here. That feels pretty weird too. That's probably normal. At least that's what my wife tells me. If you're thinking about buying or selling this fall, you have to stop guessing and you have to stop thinking about what happened 3, 6, 9, 12 months ago. You need to focus on today because today is rapidly different than it was even midsummer to now. It's a world of difference. I did a video on my Instagram a couple days ago and I showed in a 24-hour period, there was 28 homes in Luzerne County that had price reductions. And that's 24 hours. In one day, 28 home sellers had to lower their price. So that should tell you something. If you're interested about what your home might be or an area that you're thinking of buying and you want specific numbers to that rather than all of Luzerne County, feel free to just shoot me a message. I'll get you whatever data you need. I love data. I do base all my decisions in data, as you can see by this monthly marketing report for September. Because right now, the people that understand the fundamentals of what's happening will benefit. The people that don't will not have ideal outcomes. And it's my job as a real estate agent is to get my clients those ideal outcomes to help them achieve their goal, whether it's selling their house for as much as they possibly can or buying their house at a fair price with fair terms. The ones that are going to be guided in reality by data will do well in the next 6 months. Those who won't. My name's Chris Madden. I'm an associate broker at eXp Realty. I work in Luzerne County here in Northeast PA. But if you have any questions about Luzerne County, a town in Luzerne County, buying or selling, real estate in general, I always love to talk about that stuff. So feel free to leave a comment, ask for something specific you're interested in, or something here that you had a question on, and I'd be glad to get you some more info. But until next month, take care, guys. See ya.